Welcome to Books Just Want to Have Fun, the podcast where we dive into interesting books that we love to read and want you to read. Month, this month, we have another advanced reader copy interview with an author. It is just me today, but I am very excited for you to hear the interview. Enjoy. Welcome to the podcast, Christina. Do you like Christina or should I call you KL?
Oh, Christina's fine. I
Okay.
think, yeah. I mean, I go by Christina in real life, but yeah, that's my pen name's KL. So,
Tell us a little bit about yourself and what made you become a writer.
um, I have been writing since I was little, like probably since like I was 9 or 10. Um, and I went back and forth throughout high school and my 20s. This was my first debut book, Poison Pond, and I wrote Poison Pond. So it's a romantasy, and it's full of fun tropes and world building, and it's a great world to be in. I love reading. I love writing.
So I got to tell you, I really like it. I do. I really do.
Scary to and this is my first book out, like official book that I'm putting out there, and yeah, it is frightening, but I'm glad you
Yeah.
really like it. And
I
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with any world building, it took me a second to kind of figure out what was going on. But like once I got there, I was like, let me just keep reading this. I just stopped myself so I wouldn't read the last chapter because I know myself. I'd be like, and then this is how it ends, and it made me feel this way. So I was like, I can't read it. I'll ruin it.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of a, I mean, I don't think I'm giving anything away by saying there's a cliffhanger at the end. So it's,
Based on reading the second to last chapter, I can tell that there probably would be.
yeah. So it's definitely a series. Yeah.
But now I'll have to wait.
Yeah. Well, I have the drafts. I have the second draft written up already. It just takes me a long time to edit, and I want to make sure
Yeah.
it's it's the best it can be. This one actually started writing it I think mid-pandemic,
Oh,
like
wow.
during yeah, and then it went through another process, and then I like put it down, and then like I came back to it. So it's been through a lot of drafts and edits. So I want to make sure the second one has as much like I mean I'll have a little bit more because I know I don't have to do the world building anymore, but I want to make sure the second one has as enough.
Yes. At least the world is already built and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it goes a little faster, but I do want to make sure it has. So I probably won't release it until like next fall,
Yeah, that makes
but
sense.
it's a year. Yeah, yeah.
Um, so do you already know like how you want the whole story to go?
Yeah, kind of. I have like a good outline. Like I know there's going to be at least 4 books for this like section, and
Ooh.
um, yeah. So I know the ending for the series already. But then I kind of like switch between like being a pantser writer, which is like you just go with the flow, and then being like someone who plots everything out. So
Yeah.
mm, it just it might change a little. I know I definitely have side tangents a lot. So um yeah, we'll see where it goes with the
Awesome.
ending.
I'm excited because I am hooked.
Oh,
But
I'm glad you
my most burning question is name pronunciation. So
Yeah, okay. So
I know what I've been saying for all their names, but I would really love to know what their intended names are.
Yeah, I've gotten some feedback on this as well from like another ARC reader, and I just did an update. Like then I did some like little changes. My husband did some proofreading, and
Okay.
he was a very harsh proofreader. It wasn't more like it was more like a line edit. Like this doesn't make sense, and I didn't edit
It's
it
good, right?
too much. But another piece of feedback was to write pronunciation page in the front. So
Oh,
of like
nice.
most frequently used characters. Yeah. So I just added that for the final draft.
Well, that's
Um,
great. Because
yeah. Yeah. So,
that's happened
but
to me in any fantasy book. I've been saying a name one way, and then everyone's like, nope. And I'm like, well, that's stupid because that's not how I think their name is said.
yeah, no, and yeah, I always get that mixed up because when I listen to an audiobook, I'm like, okay, this is how it's being said. But then like I hear someone else talking about a book they read, like the same book, and I'm like, who's
Yeah.
that? Who are you talking about? And And then they're like, this character. And I'm like, no, isn't it pronounced like this? And they're like, oh, wait. There's such a disconnect between the character names. Huh. Yeah, I wonder.
But I was saying her name is Airy.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yes.
that's actually really good. Yeah, airy. I mean, I have the same problem with pronunciation when I was writing. I was like, Ari, Ari. No, no, it's airy. So even I changed the pronunciation.
I know that the AE grapheme together is
Hmm.
not always pronounced that way. Like, so I was like, oh, with my saying this right? So
No,
is
no, you got it.
her kingdom, I've been saying Sarenfell.
Hmm. Oh, yay.
Yes.
You got all
I'm
this.
excited. Okay. And then we've got, I wasn't sure about her sister.
Mm,
Is it
that's a hard one.
Brinja or Brinha?
It's Brinya, so it's pronounced like
Brinja.
Brinya, like with a Y sound because it's a
Okay.
J sound, but it has a Y. Yeah,
I knew either way I was probably saying it
tricky
wrong.
one. Yeah, no, that one was tricky.
Is it Rion or Rioni?
Rion, it's the first one.
Rion.
Rion.
So that one
Yeah.
I was doing correctly. And then let's see. Oh, I was saying ocean or is it ocean?
Um, his that was a hard one because it's like an Irish-based name, right?
Okay.
It's O'Sheen. O'Sheen.
Ocean.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. In my and also when I was writing it and I'm typing it, I have like different pronunciations too in my head, and then I like rephrase it, and I'm like, no, if this is the way it should be pronounced. But when I was writing it, I was like, Oisin.
Okay, so it's Irish. I was thinking for some reason Japanese, which is why I went with ocean. Like
Yeah.
I don't know why
Well,
that's what I thought, but
I mean, it's so no, I think no, I'm glad you thought Japanese. I'm really happy because my worlds are very based on like specific historical like time periods, but
yeah.
like melded in like different time periods in our world today. But then because it's fantasy, it's just they haven't heavily influenced
Yeah.
historical element. And
Well, I just a lot of history lessons from my Kindle app when with Word. I was learning so much about like ancient Roman architecture, and I was like, this is great.
yeah, it definitely has. I mean, like that's what I love about fantasy, though, is that you can take these elements and like kind of make it your own and do your own. Like, there's
Yeah.
no like, it's not like historical fiction where you're like, that's wrong, that doesn't belong there.
Mhm.
And um, so I think like, I mean and you said like Japanese, and that is going to continue. Like, I'm going to continue using those kind of like themes of different worlds in our history, but like melding it to a fantasy sort of world in the second one, if that makes sense.
That's
Um,
really cool.
so
I like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
See, was there another name that I needed to know? But those were the only. Oh, I was pronouncing the other kingdom as Fironbeck.
That was really close. I think it was Fierenbeck. Fierenbeck. So yeah.
Like so. Okay, so I was okay.
No,
There's
you did. I think you did really well. I, I'm glad because everyone, like, well, not everyone, but a lot of people have commented like, how do you pronounce these things? And Um, like other ARC readers have asked for pronunciation.
Often pronounce names wrong because I use so second grade teacher, so I'll use like the second grade rules for pronunciation. So like
Uh-huh.
the builder, I it's Otta, right?
Yeah, Ada. Yeah,
Okay. So like
you
in
got it.
that case, it's like, there's the double T, so you split the T, so then the first one's a short vowel.
It's also good for our imagination to like kind of make up these names. I think it's okay if somebody like mispronounced the name of a character of mine because they've made it their own kind of thing, if that makes sense.
But speaking of, so with your world and your inspirations for it, like how do you begin doing that kind of thing? How do you begin planning a fantasy world?
Um, okay, for this one, just took some time. Like research, I think is the number one thing. Like I started thinking about a world like with realms, and then I also there's a lot of Norse influence in, as you know, in like Sarenfell, and then I kind of based I would say like I started off with that Norse influence and then kind of branched off of like my own ideas and then filling in with again that history, and I think using history as a point to build worlds kind of helped me branch out into make other the world building, if that makes sense. And it also made it grounding for me. Like I could actually find stuff in history and then like use that as like an influence and then kind of twist it to how I wanted it to be portrayed in the story. Because um, yeah, because like there's nine realms
Mhm.
in this the whole the world that we're in,
I can't wait
and
for them to map it out so I can see that map.
yeah, I think, well, I'm debating about doing the second book with a map, like a world map. But
Yeah.
because this one was like mostly in Sarenfell, well, it's all in Sarenfell and all in Nuremberg. I just had those maps, and the maps in
Yeah.
the beginning, they're meant to look kind of. I mean, I drew them, but
It's
um,
awesome.
but like I was like debating, I was like, do I want to like make them look, because you see other books and they have like, computer graphic maps and like all these designs, but then in the story, I held back on that because in the story it says like one of the characters mentions that these are like rudimentary maps or kind of crude, and I mean they're not crude, the drawings are
Yeah.
fine, I think they're okay. But
They're
like
great maps.
but I also didn't want to like, I wanted it to look hand drawn. I wanted it to have that feeling of like this is what the maps were before the big split happened. And it's hinted at like a little bit in the story, I think. Like with the realms kind of splitting away from the world itself, Glastera, like the nine realms where like they were once a huge continent
Yeah.
not a continent like individual, but like they were attached somehow, or like they had an island, but because of that event that happened, uh, now they're floating.
The way that I've pictured it, I'm terrible at mental images, so it's probably very wrong. But like I pictured like Ferenbeck is still like on the earthly plane, and then like the bogs float like somewhere above it, and then like Sarenfel's like this floating sky island. That's how my brain has pictured it. It's not even
It's close.
relatively close. Okay.
I would say like, so because like the bogs are like the main Earth. Oh,
Oh,
and then like
okay.
so all the realms are floating above the Earth. Like they got separated from the core of the Earth.
Oh.
Yeah. So
And that's why they go to the bogs to like kind of bounce.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. And like the time is off everywhere. It's not really like on the realms, time is kind of, it's frozen, but it's kind of weirdly moving.
Yeah.
And it has, a little bit of that Sarah J. Maas influence of like the realms being in each, not all the realms are in a specific season, but they have
Mhm.
something going on with them. Like Sarenfell is in
Yeah.
that winter, and then Fear of X in the summer. And we don't actually know what's going on with the other realms in these two books, but we
Yeah.
just it's kind of giving a hint of what's happening, and then
Yeah, and Aerie mentions that like the day still happens and like the sun still goes across the sky and they can still see the moons and so it's
yeah,
like everything's still functioning, it's just no one's aging.
yeah, aging and like yeah, certain things are weirdly happening. I think in the
Yeah.
bogs it's a little different. The bogs, like the aging process goes a little faster. Time is a little more sped up.
Mhm.
Um, but again, like the characters in the book don't really know what's happening, why it's
Yeah.
happening. Neither do the
Which is
readers.
also fascinating that it's been like thousands of years and they're still like, what happened? It's great. Um, do you so like some of the characters seem to have like a little bit of magic. Is
Hmm.
that like something that you intended to have be like prominent, or is it just something that because fantasy books tend to have magic, you were like, and then these people have magic and no one else needs it, it's fine. Obligatory
Um,
magic, or was that like a choice?
no, it was a choice. I
Okay.
think, I mean, it's very like briefly mentioned, and again, like wasn't heavily mentioned in this book because it's not super relevant. But one of the
Yeah.
realms is the realm of magic. So one of the realms that was split apart, and trying to see how much I should go into it without like giving anything away in the future books. But like one of the characters, Brenos, he's actually he's a mage. So he's from that realm. And so he can, if you're from the realm of magic, with the purple eyes, then they have magic. But that's limited to that realm. I
From
would
that
say there's,
realm.
yeah. And I would say there's like other kinds of magic in the world, but it's not, that's a little bit more, that's like the
It's not the
detailed
same.
magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's more of like an ancient magic.
I loved the little nursery rhyme at the beginning. Like I kept, like I bookmarked that to keep going back because whenever Ari would mention the color of someone's eyes, I was like, hold up, go back. What does that mean? Like, do I trust this person or let
Yeah,
me
that's a
see?
good I guess it wasn't super like I kind of made it vague for a reason, but it's nice to like I'm glad you were able to follow along with the book and then like be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, who's this?" So yeah, the eye color is like it's corresponding with the realm. So it
Yeah.
each realm has a specific eye color, and I so that plays a significant factor in
Yeah.
who's
And
from where.
it was really cool with, I won't say who. But like when she's like, oh, and then I noticed this, like I finally noticed that color around the eyes. And it was like, oh,
Yeah, yeah,
sweet.
yeah. It's not. I would say it's not like restricted to just these eye
Yeah,
colors because it's again reflecting a little bit more of our world too. Like we don't always have specific eye
yeah.
color, solid eye colors. So yeah.
Um, so in the beginning, I was like, I need to know more about what's happening. But then, by the time I've gotten to the end, I kind of understand how everything works.
Oh,
Well,
good.
obviously not because I don't have all the information yet, but like I'm not questioning things anymore. Like, how did you decide when to put those informational snippets?
Um, I yeah, I guess like so like I would say the first draft was like totally dumping,
Yeah,
and
okay.
yeah, and I guess it helped me like to understand for me to write, but then
Yeah.
nobody wants to read everything at once and something dumped. And I think it's also through the drafts and rewriting, it was important to realize like it's it's for me it was like better to give hints like in what's important in that moment, what's important in the scene, what's important in that story in that moment.
Okay.
Um, and that's how I kind of like brought in and sprinkled in the bits and pieces because I again like dumping people just will read it and then they'll be like, no, I don't like what is happening.
Well, then there's always
this
that, like, the conversation that the characters have to have that's a little cheesy conversation about, and this is what you didn't know about us, and we're all friends. And you're like, okay, how many of those can you do before it's like,
yeah, you really want to make it feel natural. And again, I had to keep on going back and being like, what is important in this? How much does the reader really need to know in this scene without them becoming lost in a world like without kind of having grounding, but without with leaving that mystery still there and like naturally as if we were walking through a new world and kind of discovering it on our own.
I really liked it because it got me, like, I felt like I needed to know, like I wanted to know more. I wasn't like, oh well, I don't understand this, let me put it down, like kind of a thing. So it was great.
Awesome. Okay, good. I'm glad I got that right.
um which character was the most fun for you to create and write?
um, I mean, I love my two main characters. I love them, but I really liked the evil. Well, he's not evil. He's morally gray slash yeah, he gets evil, but Remus. I have to say Remus. This was really fun.
See him being very fun to write.
Yeah, I think. I mean, you like the villains are always the greatest, right?
Yeah.
um, yeah, and I mean, I mean, at the beginning, I really didn't like him, and then now I'm like, I really liked writing you.
Well, where I am, I really don't like him. I'm
Yeah,
mad at him.
he's yeah,
Um,
he is kind of a he's an asshole. I don't know. I don't know what to say. He's just he's a pretty bad guy.
yeah, well, for sure that, the more I learn about him, the more I'll be like, oh, he's a victim of his circumstances, like I do for any villain in any book. Was there a character that was more challenging to write? Like, was there one that you like struggled with sorting out?
I'd say Brina. Brina was kind of hard. Because I wanted she is this cold character. She's I mean like
Mhm.
she's literally like the ice queen. Um
Yeah.
um but yeah, I wanted still people to feel for her and I think that was hard because when I wrote her, I was like, she's this ice queen. She's kind of hard to relate to. Um, and then, I mean, like, and again, the layers, I added some layers in there. And I kind of really had to go back and like think about how, how can we make people relate to her? Like, how can she be someone I mean she literally kills men, she eats men, like she eats humans.
He has to.
Yeah, to survive. Yeah, so I think she was tricky, but like I also grew to really love her in terms of like her growth and she is going to grow a lot. I think
Yeah.
she's probably one of the characters that's going to definitely go through some really hard situations and grow a lot too. Yeah, in the future
And I
books,
mean,
she's definitely.
everyone seems to really respect her despite her affliction.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, she's the queen.
yeah.
But yeah, I think in deep down, she really wants to try hard and she really cares about the work she does as queen and like she really wants to do a good job. It's
Mhm.
just dealing with her role as queen and dealing with she's has a terminal it's basically a terminal illness, a terminal disease. She doesn't quite know what it is that she's afflicted with. And I think that
Yeah.
anyone in real life would have that hard time
Yeah.
work fulfilling a job and with an illness. So yeah.
I really liked that it was that it's the specifics of needing the iron blood because like they can do animal blood, but like it's gonna shorten their lifeline. So it kind of makes it more understandable, like why they're choosing. Like as soon as I
Yeah.
learned that, I was like, oh, so they like have to kill people. Like this is
Oh, yeah. That's like, I really, and also like, because I mean, like it's specifically more male orient, like more
Mhm.
males in the world have the iron blood, but I also didn't want it to limit to just
Yeah,
men. I mean, to make it more inclusive in terms of like, not everyone has like a certain blood type, or not everyone, like, but
yeah.
more, or like crossing over in terms of the gender crossing. Um, yeah, yeah, it's definitely like a need that she has to. It's
I also
interesting that
liked
she has
that
to.
everyone in Saren is a woman, whether they were born that way or became that way. I thought that was
Yeah,
really cool. It was like, you're
yeah.
still women.
There, I mean, yeah, I mean, because of the bloodlust. Sorry, that's what I. So Brinya has the bloodlust. So, or the bloodless. It's like that's a pronunciation thing. It's pronounced bloodlust, but it's like a Norse way of spelling it. Sarenfell, it has this really interesting structure because the background in that there was some civil wars, and those were caused specifically by the so it was like, a kingdom before. It was the kingdom, and I'm not sure if I don't think I'm revealing too much, but it was a kingdom before. And the civil, Ari mentions, Ari mentions the civil wars briefly, and I will go into them in other books, but it's backstory, and kind of what happened was there's these civil wars, which were caused by the individuals inflicted with the bloodless, and they targeted mostly men or male individuals, and um, so there are, like, I would say there are some males in there like hiding out, or like not just, they're just, it's mostly run by women, and it's mostly a
Yeah.
woman dominated realm.
Yeah. She references it and she's like, but they're like hidden. And I'm like, I mean, I'd be hidden. I wouldn't
Yeah,
come out.
yeah, yeah, you have to
I'm
be
like, there's like, don't want
surviving.
to find out the hard way. I have iron blood. Like, that's not happening.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so what like sparked your idea for this series?
um
Anything in particular, or
uh,
just you were writing and
at the time I was doing some short stories. I do a lot of short stories for like little contests, and part of this writing group called Globe Soup, which has kind of like monthly stuff. And yeah, and I like their short story contests. But I was writing those kind of things, and I think I was in a um my cousin. So I'm in a book group with my cousin and my sister, and we're actually, that's the Blue Stocking
that's the
Trio.
trio?
That's the yeah. Um, and we read, and this is the influence. Like we were reading Throne of Glass because my sister,
Mhm.
or my cousin was like, she had read it when it first came out. It was such a huge, like, she just loved it. And I had read A Quarter Throne of Roses probably maybe 3 or 4 years prior, when it, maybe a year after it came out. And my cousin was like, "You have to read Throne of Glass." And as the world knows, they, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just such a great series, right?
Yes.
And I was sitting there, I read it all, and I was like, "Oh, this is so good." And I was sitting there and I was thinking, I was like, maybe I can write a series. And
And I
I,
tried to get my brother to read it, and I was like, it's
uh,
kind of like a less gross, violent Game of Thrones, only
yeah,
you follow a lady. And he was like,
yeah.
sounds good. And I was like, it is good.
And I mean, it has such a strong lead female character. I think it's just really wonderful that she opened the door. But anyways, long story short, we read that as a book group, and then I was a couple months after thinking about it. It was kind of sticking in my head, and then I was like thinking, I had wanted to I wrote another book, but it's not published or anything like that before.
Well, authors do that.
Yes, yes. I think you need to get stuff off your plate and like um and then there was this one and this was the the one that I thought I could see through and um I kind of fell in love with writing it. So, yeah, I think that kind of sparked it. There was a lot of stuff going on. There was COVID, I mean, COVID's a
Yeah.
heavy influence of this story. Like there's my sister also
Trapped inside with an
another.
illness.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm actually a twin as well. So,
Oh, cool.
yeah, I mean, I'm not at all like airy, and my sister's not at all like Brina, or vice versa. Totally fiction, but I think that was also an influence too at the time. She was living in another country. I couldn't see her for like 2 years, well, maybe a year and a half. Um, and we're close, so it was hard, and I think that was an influence.
So you're in France. Are you French?
I'm not. My husband's French, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah. So I've been
I was like, wow, France. I don't speak any French. I hope her English is great.
No, no, they play. No, I'm from California, so.
Like a whole list of questions that I've
Oh
wanted to
no,
ask,
it's fine.
but I'm just enjoying this conversation, so it's fine. Um, How much of your world building that was necessary for you to have didn't actually make it into the book because it's not necessary for us yet?
Um, I would say it's like a balance because like there was quite a few things like I just want to like tell the reader. I'm like, oh, there's this
Yeah.
whole world. It's like 9 realms. It's like all these things. Um, and yeah, it was. I would say like again with the dumping, like I had to really be careful and the backstory. Like I feel like with a lot of fantasies, like especially the first book, like it's just the tip of the
Mhm.
iceberg. Like you just get like it like for this book, I mainly wanted it to be an introduction. And I think that was kind of
Yeah.
going on in my head where I was like, this is an introduction book. It's also a, a book, a strong book in terms of like the world and everything, but it's also like the readers don't know they can't read your mind.
Yeah.
They don't know the world. So I didn't want to overwhelm the reader. So I would say that, I mean, like in terms of the world itself, it's huge. It's like there's so many different elements. There are, like, again, there's the 9 realms, and there's a lot of, I kind of briefly mentioned in the book, the gods, and they play a big role
They
later
are
on. Yeah.
nice.
um Different from, I mean, I've been reading a lot of fantasies too, and you see like the different elements of how much gods play. Like sometimes, like I don't
Yeah.
know if you read like Quicksilver got, like it was really interesting how she did. I won't do any spoilers. I read it recently and I was like, oh, that's an interesting, really creative way of using the gods. And I was like, oh, I mean, I already had my ideas and I already had my outlines kind of written up, and like it's just I like kind of reading other fantasies and seeing how they do it. And then um yeah, I think I would say, for going back to the first book, again, it's just the tip of the iceberg, and I reminded myself constantly, this is just an introduction for the readers. Do not overwhelm them. Um so I mean, it would be wonderful if all the readers could read my mind and still be excited about
It'd be
the
great.
book.
So if your world was real, which part of it would you go to first?
Um, okay. So, yeah, I wouldn't like, 'cause if we're just talking about this book, not
It's just this book.
outside of this book.
So you're not going to the
um,
bogs first, I imagine.
oh, no, no, nobody wants to live there. That's the worst place you can live. I mean, it's tricky because Nuremberg is definitely a patriarchal realm. It reflects our sort of current society in terms of some things. I mean, it's a little stricter. It's probably more like how strict patriarchal realm was like, maybe.
Um, kind of like Roman in a
Yeah.
way, with
Yeah.
like
I
the
mean,
fighting
it's,
pits and
yeah. Yeah. It's very Roman Greek. Again, like I didn't stick to just Roman. I threw
yeah.
in some Greek elements. But like, yeah, it is definitely a realm that you probably wouldn't want to live in as a woman nowadays. But then again, there are some really beautiful places there. And like, I guess if you were wealthy or had high influence, you could
Yeah.
stay there. So, I mean, like, and then, I mean, Fira, Sarah, Sarah Fell is, I mean, neither places I would want to like,
Yeah.
is that sad? I mean, I love
Fell's like
Sarah
cold and
Fell.
barren.
I know it's like an Arctic ice realm. I mean, there's some really, I mean, again, there's some beautiful places there, but like it's a post-apocalyptic basically.
Yeah.
It's after it's after the split, which is kind of like an apocalyptic moment
Mhm.
and element. So they're both realms are kind of still struggling. I mean, it's been 1,000 years, so obviously they stabilized a little bit,
Yeah.
more than a little bit, but they're still struggling because they're so disconnected from the other realms. At one point, they were all like more connected and they had more trade.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would probably choose like I love the Villa Gloriel. So I'd
Yeah.
probably just choose to live there and like disregard all like in terms of
What is
weather
it?
and like.
Is it Costros? That one sounded
Oh
nice.
yeah,
The little like, it kind of
yeah,
sounded like Venice.
yes. Oh yeah, Costros. Costros. I would also want to live there. I think that was kind of its own. It's a little bit. It's further away from like where the Kira and the
Mhm.
king and his kind of hold is, and also why um, some characters like to visit that more
Yeah.
often. Um, yeah, that's it's supposed to be at like the tip of the back, so it's pretty far away from the rest of where most of the book takes place.
Probably
Yeah,
live
that's
in
what
Sarenfeld just because I don't like hot. I know that I would be then
the
trading it
cold.
for very cold, but you can warm up easier than you can cool down. So that's my
That's
logic.
true. And
And
they
I like
have furs.
storms.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say yeah. I think that's a good I'm also I don't know, I'm torn between the two because yeah, I also don't like the heat. Like if it's too hot, you're just kind of like ugh, you can't do anything. But yeah.
What's your favorite storyline to write without having to like reveal how it goes through? But
Yeah, because there's quite a few little storylines in there.
yeah.
I mean, I'm a huge romantic, so I like the romance. I think that was really fun to write, and to kind of guess like how they would react. But I mean, like, there's a lot of like the storylines, like with Scene. We didn't mention Scene that
Mhm.
much, but Scene has um, an
Scene. I should have
interesting.
asked how you said her name. I was saying
Uh,
sign.
well, actually, I'm mispronouncing it again too. I say Scene because yeah, it does look like Sign. It's Senia. It's Senia. It has like the
Senia.
Senia.
How you pronounce it is how it's pronounced.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I'm not recording, it's not my voice, but the audiobook we're working on, which is, it's not going to come out at the same time, unfortunately, but uh, yeah, it'll come out in the year, within the year. So yeah, I was talking to the narrator and she was like, how do you pronounce these things? And that was one thing, like I normally pronounce it as Sinya, and she was pronouncing it like Sinya. And I was like, okay, I just have
Ah,
to let it go. I'm good. Sinya's
yeah.
good.
It's good that it'll come out in general, but it's in my perspective of this, I've already read it, right? I like to reread books through an audiobook. Like
Yeah.
if I'm gonna read a book again now that like I've come into the world of audiobooks, I'm like, let someone else read it to me this time. Like, and it's amazing to me the things that I will pick up on. It's like a different way to
Read.
experience a book. So it'd be nice in a year, I'll re-listen to the book.
Yeah, you can catch up that way for book two.
I saw on your Instagram that you're considering this enemies to lovers. And
Mm,
I was so hoping that that's what was happening when I was reading it. I was like, please, 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 please. I don't know why. Like sometimes when people are like, ooh, enemies to lovers, when I first start reading those books, I'm like, but I hate him. Why would I want that? Like, this is terrible.
yeah.
But this one, I was immediately like, oh, I hope that's what this is. So I was on board immediately. And I love slow burn. So
Yay.
it worked out for me. I
Oh,
was like, this
good.
is great.
Yeah, this book. I've gotten comments where this book is like very slow burn, very, very, very
Yes.
slow burn. And I would say, yeah, book two definitely has a lot. I mean, it's not like I would
It's
say
not spicy.
it's not like all spicy and all like,
Mhm,
but I mean, it gives you a little bit more with the characters. And I think that's
mhm.
important. I like how the
That is
growth of the
important.
characters
Yeah.
go. Like, yeah, and it felt more natural to me that like obviously I didn't want to like stick them together like two characters. I like slow burn because it feels more natural. I don't know if that makes
It's,
sense, especially these two characters. I don't think they would be like
yeah. Well, I have a
jumping
hard
on each other.
time reading books where characters meet and are instantly like head over heels. I'm like, that doesn't feel realistic to me. Like, I know that that happens. People can meet and instantly, but I'm like, every book I'm reading, it's happening in. And I'm like, I don't think that that's how this works.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess yeah, it's tricky because it is that balance of like you want to keep the reader engaged, and romance is one of those things that keeps them engaged
Mhm,
and like keeps them connected. Um, and I think, oh, that was also another thing that I struggled with. So I had a developmental editor on this book, and she was like,
mhm.
really sprinkle in some more love there, sprinkle in some more romance. And I agreed with her in the end. I was like, okay, yes, they definitely need like hints. The reader needs, because again, like in my head, I'm like, I know where this is going. I know where, but
Yeah.
like the reader doesn't. And I think that was a really good tip from my editor was like to just hint it. I did. It's that balance. Like you don't want to do too much where
Mhm.
it's like I know where. Like obviously people know where this is going, but
Yeah.
there's like to a point where there's like so cheesy. It's just like I really didn't want
The
that.
accidental handhold.
Yes. Yes.
She's like, oh, I'm holding his hand. What? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was amazing.
So I think that was important. And it does, like, I would say the slow burn does continue in book two. It's just, there is more spice.
Are there any like tropes that you aren't a fan of?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like we
Um,
won't be seeing in your series?
mm, I don't know. I really like tropes. Um, that's a good question. I have to like see the list of tropes to like tick it off and be like, no, I don't like
Let's
this
see if I
one.
have a list of fantasy tropes. I'll just hit Google real quick. Different than romance tropes. So like fantasy tropes are like the chosen one, good and evil, reluctant hero, the mentor, magical artifacts. There's a dark lord. There's a quest. There's prophecies. Damsel in distress. I don't think we're seeing damsel in distress.
Yeah, I would say I'm like, because I don't want to say you're again, I'm thinking about the next series too. I'm like, I don't like damsel in distress. I think I like women
Mm,
to like. I like the strong female character
yeah.
trope, I guess. But I less so much the damsel. I mean, there are. I think that's also something that I wanted to really emphasize in this one too. Is that the characters accept help from other people,
Okay.
but they're not necessarily being saved. I'm really equality. I'm looking for like the balance between two characters and their
Okay.
roles versus like the damsel in distress kind of character. Or
Yeah.
the characters. So yeah, I would say like you'd see less of it. You'd see elements of it, but then you see like I wouldn't. Yeah, that would probably be the trip I would not fully go into. But I love tropes. I love
Um,
them. I think they're good.
is there anything else that you would like to share about your book?
I mean, you asked so many great questions. I don't know. I think like you covered a lot of things. I hope like whoever when the people, your audience that listen, will kind of get a better understanding of it.
On our podcast, we
Mm.
do a wheel spin about books. So it's like these little categories that come up and we'll spin the wheel and we will
Oh, fun.
relate either a character or plot line to it.
Uh-huh.
Um, so the last one I did, it was like we ended up with like signature drink like at a coffee shop. And so we just talked about
Oh,
like the
fun.
main character, what their Starbucks order would be. So it's just we like it. We call it our wheel of fun. It is a wheel of fun.
That's a fun, that's a really fun idea. I like that.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Gender bender. So this one would be, and it kind of works for the people of Sarenfell. Um,
Yeah.
but so this would be like if in the story, um, oh no, I already forget how to say her name.
Ari?
Brina
Brina.
and
Brina.
Ari,
Yeah. Yeah.
Brina and Ari were males. And
Oh,
so
okay.
then conversely, like Remus and Rion would be females. Like
Okay.
what
Oh.
would we think would happen there?
Oh. Huh. It's that's so funny because I almost think that they're kind of like mirrors of themselves already in some ways in
Oh
their
yeah.
own realms. Um yeah, because yeah, like Brina is like the queen and Remus is the king, and then they have their, their their
The little sidekicks.
Rihanna's the, yeah, is the strategist, and Aries the lead of the Narkai, or the queen's hand basically. And um yeah, I would say like if they had gender roles changed, um I think it
Maybe
would
still
work
end up
out
the same, or would it be
very similar. Yeah, I think it would, they would I think they would end up in the same situation, but uh again, like I
how
I
the
mean, I don't
dynamic
think
would be
much
a
would. Yeah, yeah, I would say the dynamics. Actually, yeah, that's a good, because it would be then
it'd be
it'd
women
be tricky.
owning men.
Yeah, and then and in Fear it's a patriarch. But then if it was,
Mhm.
I guess it depends, because if it was Sarenfell was still like a, not a queendom, but like mostly women owning, it would definitely
Mhm.
change. I think it would have to depend on the circumstances. Like Fear, if it was still a patriarch and it had a queen ruler, that would definitely like make me
Those
have to think
challenges.
about, yeah, like what would the queen ruler allow in that patriarchal realm? How did she become queen? Because technically there's no queens there.
Yeah. It would
um
be her, she would definitely probably have to go along with a lot more of the traditions just to try to prove that
yes,
she could be queen.
yes, maybe a little bit like, Queen Elizabeth. I don't know, someone,
Yeah.
um because there is still the Kira, which is the the court there,
Mhm.
the advisors. So they would probably have a heavy hand on if Remus was a female, and then
Yeah.
vice versa in Sarenfell. I think this is a good question because it makes me think. It's like, oh, how would this go? Um, Sarenfell, because of all the Iron Bloods being wiped out and
Mm.
um, being it mostly female dominated realm, having a king would also bring up those questions. How is he
Being able to be
protected? Does
like
he
eating
have,
her own kind.
yeah, yeah, does he have the bloodless? Like, why does he have
Yeah.
it? And is he eating himself? Like,
Yeah.
is he an iron blood and is he affected with the
Ooh.
bloodless? Um, yeah, and then also, yeah, so I guess same goes for like how our Ari and Rion would be as female and male, um,
Mhm.
serving under their king and queen. Yeah,
Be
that's a good point.
interesting to like, I know that it sounds so weird to be like, I didn't really bat an eye to like a man owning a woman, but like it would be a really interesting power dynamic. Harry be the male in that situation, like
Mm-hmm,
just
mm-hmm,
toting around.
mm-hmm.
It would
I
make
think
their disagreements a lot more palpable, I think.
because he's the king, he's owning everyone. Remus owns every slave, and he comes to his land. So,
Yes.
um,
So Remus owning slaves, and then
be a
it
female.
would
Yeah,
make those disagreements a lot more palpable to have a male
yeah,
slave
yeah,
talking back to a queen.
yeah, yeah. It'd be really interesting. Ah, different, different stuff to think about. It's a good question.
Well, yeah. So your book comes out June 21st.
Yes, yeah. So that's the summer
Yes.
solstice. Um,
Perfect.
yeah, that kind of goes with Fehrenbeck, like
Yeah,
summer.
I like that. And where can people get it?
So it'll be on Amazon as usual. But it will also be available Barnes and Noble. It will be available on
That's exciting.
Kobo. Yeah, it'll be on Kobo Plus if people have a digital one and they want to get um, on Kobo Plus. Um, the ebook will be available there. Most large retailers in the UK as well, so like Waterstones. Um, and then I'm also
It's
gonna
really
look into
exciting.
like yeah, yeah. So online mostly, and then some independent bookstores. I'm gonna put them on there. So.
So besides the street team, are you doing like events or book
Yeah.
signings or anything?
So I'm working on getting. So my sister actually lives in Newcastle, so I'm gonna go up there over the summer, and I'm gonna try really hard to get the book into the independent bookstores up there, a couple bookstores up there, because this is
So
an
you guys
indie book.
migrated from California. You were like, no, California.
Yeah. Well, she's married to a Brit, so she moved there. But yeah, I'm hoping they have some really cute bookstores up there, and she's in contact with them. And then also, hopefully, some in Los Angeles. But I won't be doing any events there, so I'm trying to get an event in Newcastle going, Edinburgh, Newcastle, and then online events. There's definitely going to be a 10-day countdown, and there's going to be
Nice.
like an event every day. So a little event, nothing big, but like, yeah. So
That's
discounts.
exciting.
There's also talking about events. So there's the stuff with fantasy event. I don't know if you've heard that
Mhm.
one yet. Yeah. So it's going to be on. Oh, you haven't. So it's like a big event where they discount books. I'm back and forth with these discount books because it teaches readers to like look for them and wait for them, but then also it's
Yeah.
kind of harmful for our authors. And then
Yeah.
it's just the readers who want to like flock and get free books. And then they never get read. And
Yeah.
there's so much time put into these books that it's like,
Yeah.
what's the cost effective? But it isn't free. It'll be discounted as a pre-sale for 99 cents. Yeah, so
Wow.
that'll be fun on the 14th. It's stuff with fantasy, and it's specifically fantasy books by
Hmm.
independent authors. So that'll be an
Sweet.
event going on. Yeah. But there'll be other events. So I'm planning like little giveaways and things like that on the 10-day countdown. So
Yes.
that'll be fun.
Though I already have it on my Kindle, I will be getting it because I need it for my shelf.
There is actually the version that you read is
Mhm.
I again this last week I just did a really intense I mean, it's not like completely different, but there are lines, there are slight phrases that are different now. A little bit more character description, not a lot, but a little bit more. Just a couple lines in there, but nothing too much because I also like the reader to use their own imagination when it comes to building a character. I'm also going to put out some character art, so that'll help. But
Okay.
yeah, that's exciting.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you. I will let you get on with your evening.
Thank you for like spending the time to interview me
Yeah,
and
thank you for
letting me
doing
be on your
this.
podcast. Yeah, it's really sweet of you. Yeah, so, but thank you so much for having me, Pamela, and it was really nice to meet you. And I'll get you
Yes.
going on the street team.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.